You may have once believed that wealth was the result of working harder, saving more, or being fortunate enough to encounter the right opportunity. Yet there is a hidden truth, a secret manuscript passed down for more than a century, declaring that wealth is not a matter of chance, but a precise science. This science does not operate outside of you. It begins within the mind, where every thought, every belief, every word becomes a command, issued to the primal substance of the universe. And once you learn how to apply it, the path to prosperity ceases to be a coincidence and becomes an inevitable outcome. Human beings have long believed that wealth is the inevitable result of exhausting labor, of strict saving, or of shrewd connections with power. Such beliefs have been repeated so often that they have become self-evident in the minds of the masses, as though everyone assumed the sun rises by some miracle rather than by unchanging cosmic law. Yet it is precisely this illusion of self-evidence that has kept millions wandering endlessly in a vicious circle of blind striving, never reaching the true threshold of prosperity. If you look closely, you will see countless examples proving that this common rule does not hold. Some toil relentlessly, their whole lives, hoarding every penny, and end up with nothing more than a narrow existence and a life of lingering anxiety. Meanwhile, others seem not to labor excessively, nor to live austerely, yet they open an unbroken stream of financial ease and abundance. This provokes a piercing question. If wealth does not arise from sweat and stinginess, then where does its true source lie? There exists a classic manuscript that has endured for more than a century, passed quietly from hand to hand among the wealthy and those who truly understand the laws of spirit. This work bears the name of Wallace Wattles, a name not known to all, yet whose words are regarded as the precise formula of prosperity. Wattles did not speak of money as luck, nor treat it as the product of cunning or schemes. He declared that wealth is a science exact, predictable, and as certain as mathematics. If you grasp these principles and practice them with steadfastness, the result is as sure as mixing hydrogen with oxygen and producing water. At first, such an idea may seem unfamiliar, yet it explains why ordinary advice: work harder, save more, invest more wisely, so often fails. These admonitions only touch the surface of appearances. They never reach the root. The manuscript reveals that the root lies in thought itself, in the invisible laws radiating from the mind each day. Wealth is not the outcome of external conditions. It is the most faithful reflection of one's state of consciousness, and if consciousness operates by a law that can be understood, then wealth is its natural effect, not a random event. The danger is that we have been trained in reverse. From childhood, we are taught to measure ourselves against others, to compete, to accept that only a few will succeed while the majority must endure hardship. This ideology builds an invisible wall in the mind, preventing people from ever daring to try the other door, the door of spiritual creation. Thus, generation after generation stops at striving harder, never questioning whether an unseen law is governing the entire game. Wallace Wattles answered that question. He wrote that the universe is made of a primordial substance, a spiritual ocean capable of reproducing exactly the images man impresses upon it. Whoever understands this principle steps into the realm of creation, where wealth is not luck or privilege, but the result of obedience to an immutable order. That is why the elite guarded this manuscript, not out of fear that others might read it, but because they knew the masses were not yet ready to believe something so contrary to their fixed assumptions. Picture a farmer. He sows seed in the soil, not fearing that the seed may refuse to sprout, but with absolute certainty that earth and seed obey a natural law. He tends the field, waters it, and waits with patience for the harvest, wealth is the same. It does not arise from endless blind labor, but from sowing the right seeds of consciousness into the primal substance of the universe. Once you understand this, prosperity becomes as natural as harvest follows planting. The essential point is not how to extract more toil, but how to change the inner starting point. When thought is rightly placed, the work, the actions, the opportunities, and the right people will appear and assemble themselves into results. That is why the truly wealthy often say that money is only a byproduct, while mind is the source. They have grasped the secret that wealth is a spiritual science. And this science operates with precision, whether you believe it or not. We stand before a choice. Either we continue down the path society has drilled into us, believing life is a brutal struggle where only a few fortunate ones escape, or we open the door. Wallace Wattles left behind stepping into a different order, where wealth is not a contest, but a natural current. When we align with spiritual law, this is not a fanciful dream. It is a science waiting to be applied, and when you truly understand, you will see that wealth has never been outside of you. It has always begun within your own being. Wallace Wattles named a principle that can transform the very way you perceive the world. He called it the theory of the formless substance. According to him, the universe is not merely rock, soil, metal, and rigid matter. It is a spiritual ocean, an invisible yet ever-living substance that responds directly to the dominant thoughts and beliefs of man. Every thought you release is like a seed cast into this fertile ground, and this ground never refuses. It accepts, then quietly crystallizes it into tangible form in reality. This explains why some people seem to open doors wherever they go, while others, despite their greatest efforts, meet only obstacles. The world does not play favorites. Rather, their minds broadcast different frequencies, sow different seeds, and the primal substance of the universe simply reflects them back. If you believe your life is bound by lack, anxiety, or limitation, you have engraved a pattern of poverty into the vast spiritual sea, and the universe, as a faithful mirror, returns precisely what you have impressed upon it. But if you affirm abundance, if you trust that life contains infinite opportunities, then that primal substance immediately arranges circumstances, people, and openings to match. This principle does not show favoritism, nor does it negotiate. It functions with the same certainty as the law of gravity. Picture yourself holding a handful of seeds. If you sow wheat, you will reap a golden harvest. If you sow weeds, the field will grow only thorns. The universe is the same. It does not question why you chose such seeds. It simply nourishes them and projects the result. What causes most people to fail is that they sow confusion today, planting faith, tomorrow planting fear, and so the spiritual field cannot crystallize into a clear harvest. The truly wealthy, those who understand the law, never allow their minds to contradict themselves. They persist in sowing a single image, and for that reason, the universe returns to them an unceasing flow of abundance. At this point, I want to ask you a question, and it is a question so important that it may be the beginning of your transformation. Right now, deep in your mind, what kind of seeds are you sowing? Are they the images of fear that money is hard to earn, that opportunity belongs to others, that you are undeserving? Or are they the steady images that wealth is flowing toward you, that you and the source of life are one, that abundance is your true nature? The answer need not be spoken, for your life is already speaking it. But in this very moment, pause for a few seconds, look honestly within, and you will see that the principle Wattles discovered is not some distant theory, but a reality unfolding each day in your own existence. I thank you for listening and for giving your full attention to this moment, because your presence here is no accident. You have come to these words because your mind is ready for a new doorway, ready to sow different seeds. And when a new seed is planted, the entire harvest of the future changes. When you understand the theory of the formless substance, you will see clearly the difference between belief and a fleeting wish. A wish flickers on and off, but belief is a steady current, an unwavering image that allows no denial. The universe does not answer passing wishes. It responds only to deep belief, for belief is the governing frequency. When you keep your faith clear, unswerving, the primal substance will arrange every circumstance, person, an opportunity to bring that image into reality. This is not mysticism. This is law. And law is always precise. Looking back at your own life, you will recognize that in the moments when you believe strongly in something, somehow it came to pass, whether a success, an opportunity, or an unexpected door. Conversely, the times you failed were tied to doubt, to inner conflict, and it was that division which sowed half-hearted seeds. The universe never refused you. You simply did not yet know how to sow rightly in the right way. If you can accept this truth, then the immediate task is not to search for opportunity out there, but to return and examine the field of your own spirit, uproot the seeds of lack, and plant the image of abundance. That is the first act, and also the decisive one. Once you hold that image firmly, you will see the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. And then you will know that what Wallace Wattles wrote was not a philosophical theory to be admired from afar, but a practical tool to shape your life. Wealth ceases to be a gamble. It becomes a certainty. And you, if you hold fast to this belief, will no longer ask, is it possible? But will simply prepare yourself to receive. Every physical structure in this world begins with a blueprint. A house, a bridge, a towering skyscraper, all are first conceived and shaped in the mind of the architect before a single brick is laid. Without a blueprint, no structure could ever stand. In the same way, every fortune, every career, every achievement in human life begins with a mental blueprint, not by accident, nor by lucky circumstance, but by an image carefully nourished and firmly held in consciousness. This is the greatest difference between those who live in prosperity and those who struggle in lack. The successful do not chase fragments of chance. They construct within their minds a complete image and then walk steadily forward until reality itself must bow to that image. The mental blueprint is not a vague wish, nor a passing thought in a fleeting moment. It is a clear, detailed image guarded as a command. The more specific this image becomes, the greater its power. If you say you want to be wealthy, it remains only a general statement, no different from a drifting cloud. But if, within your mind, you have etched the vision of a life of abundance, where you clearly see the work you do, the house you live in, the way you live each day, then that image becomes the template upon which the spiritual substance of the universe arranges itself. This is why those who hold a vivid vision produce results far beyond those who cling only to general wishes. The key to a mental blueprint is integrity. A divided blueprint cannot yield a structure. If an architect designs a tall building yet doubts whether the foundation is strong enough, and then sketches details that break the structure, the project will never stand. So it is with the mind. If you envision abundance, yet allow images of lack to intrude, you create inner contradiction. The spiritual substance will respond with the same contradiction, producing a reality that is fragmented and incomplete. Those who understand the law never permit opposing images to exist. They choose a single vision and lock their consciousness upon it with unwavering faith. Faith here is not an impulsive emotion, but a deep inner certainty. The farmer who sows seed is certain that the crop will sprout. He does not need to persuade himself each day. His faith is calm, but unsägable. When you hold your mental blueprint with such faith, you create the firmest foundation for wealth. Every action, every decision, every opportunity will arrange itself around that image. For your mind has issued a consistent command, and the universe can only respond to that command. Some fail not because they lack ideas, but because they do not remain steadfast in them. Today they envision a prosperous life. Tomorrow, faced with difficulty, they change the picture and let worry creep in. That fluctuation destroys the blueprint. Meanwhile, the wealthy often hold one image for many years, and though outward circumstances may resist, they do not waver. They know reality is but a delayed reflection, while the inner image is the true cause. The power of a mental blueprint also lies in the way it shapes you. When you hold fast to the image of wealth, you begin to act in harmony with that image. You make firmer decisions. You choose more valuable associations. You recognize opportunities you once overlooked. Gradually, you become the very person described in your blueprint, and then nothing can prevent reality from matching it. It is important to note that the mental blueprint never requires you to know every step in detail. An architect may have the design, but the workers, materials, and engineers appear in time to complete the structure, so it is with you. You need only hold the final image with clarity. The details, the means, the necessary people will present themselves. Many fail because they worry about every detail, how to obtain the money, how to secure the opportunity, but their task is not to know everything. It is to hold the final image with unwavering belief. Then the formless substance will draw the necessary elements. As waters from many streams flow into a mighty river, therefore, the mental blueprint is the foundation of every fortune, every structure of life. It cannot be replaced by blind effort or by chance. It demands a clear image, an undivided faith, and absolute persistence. If you desire to step into the flow of prosperity, begin by creating that blueprint. Guard it as a jewel within your mind. Do not let the dust of doubt cloud it. Once the blueprint is firm, all else becomes a matter of time, and the result will appear as surely as dawn follows the long night. The human mind operates like a broadcasting station, transmitting without pause every thought, every emotion, every belief is like a frequency sent out into the vast spiritual atmosphere. The universe, as a faithful field of response, can only return to you what matches the signal you emit. If you continually broadcast frequencies of anxiety, scarcity, and lack, you will receive only the signals of poverty and obstruction, even though opportunity is all around you. It is no different from a radio tuned to the wrong channel. The music is indeed being played, but if you are fixed upon the frequency of static, all you will hear is harsh noise. The wealthy are not fortunate by accident. They have learned to tune their inner dial. They broadcast faith in abundance, certainty, and sufficiency, and those frequencies draw to them opportunities, people, and circumstances that reflect prosperity. Consider for a moment what frequency you broadcast most often in the course of a day. Do you allow your mind to be filled with fear, comparison, and the question of whether you are enough? Or do you hold to the steady trust that life is a river of overflowing provision? That opportunity is flowing toward you. This is a subtle division, yet it determines the whole of the result. A person standing before the very door of opportunity, but filled with doubt, will never recognize it is open. Another, with unwavering belief, will instantly see the crack of light and step through This principle is as sharp as a blade. You cannot broadcast the frequency of lack and expect to receive abundance. You cannot send out the signal of fear and expect the return of peace. The frequency you emit is your continual prayer, and the universe never ignores that prayer. Those who do not understand this law often blame circumstances, saying poverty is due to society, the market, or other people. But the truth is they have imprisoned themselves in the jail of scarcity frequency. The question before you is simple. What frequency do you wish to continue sending? This is the moment I want to hear from you, to know that you are present and listening. If you are ready to change your frequency, ready to release the signal of poverty and step into the signal of prosperity, then leave in the comments, I am ready to change, or simply type the number 1. I thank you for your presence, for this small act is itself a declaration, a signal you send into the spiritual ocean that you are choosing a new frequency for your life. Returning to the principle, understand that frequency is not merely a fleeting thought, but the inner state repeated daily. If you continually feed images of poverty, feelings of insecurity, and doubt, then that is the default broadcast of your station. But when you train your mind to hold the image of abundance, when you cultivate the feelings of certainty and gratitude, you are turning the dial into the frequency of prosperity, and once tuned correctly, you will hear the music you have long sought. Some may ask, if all is frequency, what of effort? Effort is essential, but effort issuing from the wrong frequency only multiplies error. It is like straining the radio dial harder towards static. The more you force, the louder the noise, yet with one small adjustment in the right direction, the entire symphony bursts forth. Outer effort is only effective when it harmonizes with inner frequency. The wealthy hold this secret. They do not merely work hard, they work in tune with the right current, where their actions are amplified many times by the resonance of the universe. Life itself proves this truth. Some walk into a room and immediately attract opportunity, while others, standing in the same place, are overlooked completely. The difference does not lie in appearance or words, but in the frequency each transmits. One radiates faith and abundance. The other projects lack and doubt. And the universe, like a mirror, returns only the signal it receives. If you truly desire to change your financial life, begin with controlling the broadcast of your own mind. Observe each thought, each emotion, and ask, is this the signal of scarcity or of prosperity? Each time you notice fear, change the channel by affirming an image of abundance, by recalling moments when you were helped, blessed, and provided for, so that your broadcast returns to certainty and gratitude. In this way, day by day, you will shift from the frequency of poverty to the frequency of wealth. This is not mere autosuggestion. It is spiritual science. As Wattles affirmed, the formless substance responds only to the signal you send. And if that signal is steady and consistent, then wealth cannot refuse you. You do not need luck, nor competition. You need only to tune the dial correctly. The universe will do the rest. The ability to shift frequency in real life is a subtle yet decisive skill, for no one can maintain an unbroken stream of positive thought without wavering. Life will still bring its trials, its upheavals, and at times sudden shocks that pull the mind away from the frequency of abundance. The issue is not whether you fluctuate, but whether you recognize when you have slipped into scarcity and then consciously choose to retune. Those who do not know the law remain trapped in lack, sinking deeper the more they resist, like one struggling in quicksand. Those who understand the law stop, observe, and shift. This awareness marks the difference between one who masters life and one who is mastered by circumstance. The state of scarcity usually speaks in thoughts such as, I am not enough, I cannot, I have no chance. It is accompanied by contracted feelings, by fear, and by insecurity. When you allow your mind to remain there, the universe immediately reflects it with poor conditions and obstruction. Yet the moment you recognize the signal and choose to shift, everything begins to change. Understand that this shift does not come from forcing yourself to think positive, for force only breeds in a conflict. It comes from a clear spiritual choice, a deep resolve. I choose to participate in the frequency of abundance. Kosi, one of the most effective ways to shift frequency is to redirect the focus of the mind. When you are caught in lack, turn your attention to anything in the present for which you can feel gratitude, no matter how small. Find one point of light, and you will feel the energy change. Gratitude is not denial of difficulty. It is the opening of a door to another frequency. From gratitude, the mind opens wider, and abundance finds room to reflect. Another method is to use replacement imagery. When thoughts of poverty rise, you need not fight them. Simply introduce another image. Just as you would not shatter a sad song, you would only play a new melody, and the sorrow fades. The clearer the new image, the stronger the emotion, the faster the shift occurs. This is why the mental blueprint we spoke of earlier is so vital. It provides the ready image to replace whenever the mind drifts off. Channel. Shifting frequency also means changing your inner language. The repeated phrases whispered in the mind, I will never have enough, I am not capable, it is too hard, are scarcity signals. When you catch yourself speaking them inwardly, stop and replace them with affirmations of sufficiency, not mechanical repetition, but conscious choice. Even a quiet word, such as, I am stepping into the flow of prosperity, reminds your mind that another frequency is available. The shift is not only mental, it also shows in the body. On the frequency of poverty, the body contracts, breath shortens, muscles tighten. On the frequency of abundance, breathing deepens, shoulders relax, the body releases. Thus, one of the simplest ways to change the channel is to pause, take a deep breath, open the chest, and let tension out. This physical change sends a reverse signal to the mind that you are ready for a new state. The key is to practice until this becomes reflex. The more you exercise it, the quicker you recognize when you are off channel, and the easier it becomes to return to abundance. This is not a one-time act, but a daily discipline of the spirit. Each time you notice and shift, you strengthen the new habit and bring the path back to prosperity closer to you. Some may wonder, is this not an escape from reality? In truth, it is the most direct way of facing reality without letting it define you. External reality is only the mirror. The root cause is within. When you change frequency, you change cause. And when cause changes, the outer result must change also. This is the essence of spiritual law, not illusion. The truly wealthy have mastered this skill until it becomes second nature. When difficulty comes, they do not permit panic. They observe, they recognize scarcity frequency, and they choose to return to wealth frequency. That is why, in the same situation, they see opportunity where others see only walls. They move forward when the masses shrink back, and that is what creates lasting difference. To shift frequency in real life is an inner act, but it radiates across the whole of life. Each time you return to abundance, you change not only emotion, but also perception, decisions, and ultimately results. It is the bridge between the spiritual and the material, and once mastered, this skill becomes an immeasurable treasure, carrying you out of the prison of scarcity into the freedom of sufficiency. There is a simple truth, yet one hidden from the eyes of most. Wealth never appears first and then produces the mindset of wealth. Its true order is always the reverse. You must first think as the wealthy think, feel as though prosperity already belongs to you, act as though abundance is your present reality, and then the outer world will slowly align itself to that pattern. This is the principle Wallace Wattles called the advancing mind, or the time's pre-success state. It explains why those who live by steadfast faith often attain what they envision, while those who wait for proof before believing are forever left behind. When you step into the pre-success state, you choose to become before you have. You sit in the position of one already complete, not in pretense, but in the inner certainty that this is your true nature. You dress, speak, think, and decide from that place so that every action and every detail of your day harmonizes with the new image. Others may not yet see anything outwardly, but you have already transformed the inner atmosphere, and that atmosphere draws the outer circumstances to match. This is why true wealth always begins as a mental habit. When you hold the thought of abundance, you begin to see life differently, where once you saw obstacles, you now perceive opportunities. Instead of asking, "Why can't I?" you ask, "How can I?" Instead of compromising with poverty, you begin to make bolder choices with longer vision. This subtle change, repeated over and over, builds a new current that eventually leads you into outer experiences that reflect the inner stance. The pre-success state is the art of living within a reality already formed in consciousness. When you sustain that image long enough, you cease to argue with conditions. You no longer beg for evidence to believe. You know, you are sowing seed, and harvest is only a matter of time. The one without faith always demands to see the sprout the moment the seed is planted, and in their doubt they dig it up and ruin it. But the one who lives in the pre-success state plants, trusts, and lives as though the harvest is assured. Here you may understand this is the power of voice. Within not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk, within you is a voice, quiet and unboastful, but it is the place you come back to for strength. When you nurture that voice, it becomes the atmosphere of certainty. And from there, you step into the world carrying the posture of one already successful, even if nothing outside yet reflects it. Observe the truly successful. Before they possessed wealth, they carried themselves as those in command. They studied as though they would one day use knowledge to guide an enterprise. They invested in themselves as though the results were already guaranteed. They walked with a confidence that drew the attention of others, and that very confidence pulled opportunity toward them. They did not wait to have before they believed. They believed first, and then they had. The pre-success state is not arrogance, nor empty boasting. It is quiet assurance, a way of living from within. You need not parade it, nor compare yourself with others. You need only to know with certainty that wealth already exists in your subconscious, and that you are simply allowing it to come forth. As you walk in that state, the universe sees your preparation and sends the fitting opportunities. Perhaps you have felt this before in some small area. Before achieving a modest success, you once saw it clearly in your mind, and you acted as if it had already happened. Then, as if arranged, it came to pass. That was but a small proof of a greater principle. If it holds true in little things, it holds even more in great things. if only you are steadfast enough to remain in the pre-success state. The failing ones remain trapped in the circle of waiting. They say, when I have money, I will think rich. When I have opportunity, I will be confident. When I succeed, I will live like the successful. But spiritual law does not work that way. It only answers when you dare to reverse the order. Think rich first, act rich first, and wealth will follow. To live in the pre-success state is to step into freedom. No longer do you allow conditions to dictate to you. No longer do you wait for outer signals to define your worth. You choose a new definition within, and when that choice is firm, the outer world must change. This is an unbreakable law, and those who grasp it never return to the old way of thought. Once you have embraced the pre-success state, remember that every step matters. The way you speak, the choices you make, the way you see life, these are the stones paving your road to prosperity. And that road begins the very moment you believe you are already there, even before the eyes can see it. One of the most dangerous illusions taught from childhood is the idea of the fixed pie. People are told that resources are limited, that if one person takes a larger portion, another must be left with less, that success is a contest where the winner takes all and the loser is left empty-handed. This way of thinking has turned generations into weary runners, constantly glancing sideways with suspicion, constantly afraid that opportunity will be stolen away. Yet the truth is entirely different. Wealth is never distributed like slices of a pie. It is a flowing stream that continually expands, and whoever learns to enter that stream receives his share in abundance. Escaping the trap of competition means leaving behind the game of the fixed pie and becoming a creator. The competitor looks only at what already exists and schemes to take a larger share. But the creator looks at the empty space and asks, what new can I bring forth? The moment you shift from the spirit of competition to the spirit of creation, you step into a different universe, one with no limits, only infinite opportunity. This is the secret of great men, great women, and great enterprises. They did not waste themselves fighting others for a smaller portion. They created new value that made the old contest obsolete. Experience has shown that those who live by competition are ensnared in constant tension and fear. They must always watch their rivals, always react to another's moves. But creators are different. They do not chase. They do not merely respond. They chart new paths. This not only gives them advantage, but frees them from the endless pressure of the race. When you become a creator, you do not merely possess wealth, you possess freedom. A clear mark of one who has escaped the trap of competition is their attitude toward the success of others. Those still bound to competition see another's success as a threat. They envy, they fear their share will diminish. But the creator sees another's success as proof of possibility. They bless that success, for in their mind prosperity is an ocean without shore, a pie that can always be baked anew. The success of another is evidence that wealth is real, present, and therefore ready to flow toward them as well. To live in this spirit generates a wholly different energy. When you truly bless others, you release yourself from fear and jealousy. You send out the signal that you believe in abundance, and the universe answers by sending more opportunity. This is not hypocrisy or feigned virtue. It is wisdom. For when you view another's triumph as testimony to your own potential, you strengthen the conviction that prosperity is real, and you are already within its flow. The creative spirit also brings clarity to your actions. Instead of reacting to fear of loss, you ask, what new value can I create? What path can I open that no one has yet seen? This is the thinking that has given birth to inventions, companies, and careers that reshape the world. And you need not be a genius to live this way. You need only step out of competition and into creation. The wonder is that when you live as a creator, not only do you shed anxiety, you also draw cooperation. Others feel your energy and want to build with you. They no longer see you as rival, but as partner. And when cooperation replaces competition, the value produced far exceeds the meager rewards of a narrow race. This is true liberation. You no longer fear losing your portion. You no longer see life as a limited storehouse. You see wealth as sunlight. No one can steal your share by basking in it. And it is ever plentiful for all. Escaping competition does not mean you become passive or cease striving. It means you direct your energy toward creation rather than wasting it in fear and comparison. It means you choose to stand on the ground of abundance instead of clinging to the illusion of scarcity. And when you do so, you will discover that new doors are always open, for the universe always responds to those who dare to create, not to those who only compete. Therefore, to be truly wealthy, abandon the fixed pie in your mind. Become a creator. Learn to bless the success of others as proof that the path of prosperity is open to all. When you do this, you step out of the old game and begin to live in a new order, where wealth is no longer a battle, but the continual creation of mind and spirit. One of the greatest turning points in prosperity thinking is to understand that opportunity never runs out. The culture of competition has trained people to believe that the market is limited. That opportunity appears only once, and if you miss it, it is gone forever. This belief keeps many living in constant fear, rushing into anything that appears before them simply out of dread, that if they do not seize it, nothing else will come. But the classic teachings reveal a different principle. The universe is ever expanding. Human needs are ever changing. Technology continually evolves, and new problems arise without ceasing, meaning opportunity is not scarce, but multiplying every single day. The mindset of unlimited opportunity allows you to choose rather than to scramble. When you believe that doors are always opening, you no longer suffer from the fear of missing out. Instead, you can calmly discern which opportunities align with your long-term vision and which are mere distractions disguised as promise. This calm discernment is what separates the creator from the crowd chaser. Creators do not cling to everything they select and focus, and because of this, they produce results that are deeper and more enduring. Look around, and you will see the proof. Technology shifts daily. Bring forth entire new industries, social issues arise, and open new markets for solutions. A century ago, no one needed internet services. A few decades ago, no one imagined the mobile app industry. And only in recent years has there emerged a vast field for artificial intelligence. Each change brings fresh opportunity, and the faster the change, the greater the opportunities. Recognizing this truth frees you from the endless cycle of fear and lets you live in confidence of the abundance ahead. The mindset of unlimited opportunity also changes how you view failure. Those bound to scarcity see failure as the end, for they believe chance comes only once. But those who understand this principle know that failure is only one attempt unfinished, and countless doors remain ahead. When one path closes, they do not despair. They simply turn their gaze to the next opening the universe provides. This faith sustains their perseverance and creativity, making each setback a stepping stone to greater progress. More importantly, the mindset of unlimited opportunity frees you from the trap of greed. When you know that opportunities abound, you need not clutch everything. You need not force. You need not cling to scraps. You can give. You can decline. You can patiently wait for what truly suits you. This attitude not only brings inner peace, but also sharpens your decisions. Rather than being pulled by temporary glitter, you choose by vision, and that vision leads to lasting wealth. In practice, many waste their energy and focus by chasing too much at once. Fear of missing out drives them into overextension, leaving them scattered, exhausted, and without clear achievement. Those with the unlimited opportunity mindset are different. They know the universe is abundant and that new doors will always open. They permit themselves to say no to what does not fit, saving their strength for what truly matters. This refusal is not weakness, but a mark of power. The key is to see the marketplace and the world as a living body, constantly expanding. Each day, new human needs arise. Each technological leap creates new fields. Each social issue becomes an opening for the creative mind to solve. Opportunity never disappears. It is only that you may not yet have adjusted your vision to perceive it. When you change this perception, the fear of missing out dissolves, replaced by the confidence that you have the right to choose, the right to wait, and the right to focus. And when you operate from that faith, every decision becomes sharper. You invest in building yourself rather than rushing into every direction. You hold to your long-term vision rather than being swayed by the noise of the market. You come to see that wealth does not come from running faster than others, but from moving in the right direction and walking it with steadfastness. The mindset of unlimited opportunity is profound liberation. It frees you from anxiety, from the pressure of always being on time, from the feeling of living on the edge of loss. It places you in the very center of the creative stream, where you know the universe is abundant, ever giving, ever opening more to those who can see and who can choose. And when you live from that spirit, you are no longer the one chasing opportunity, but the one standing in the flow, choosing with wisdom, with creativity, and with unshakable confidence. Among all the principles preserved in the classic manuscript, living gratitude is called the golden key. For only when your heart vibrates with gratitude do the mind and body truly come into alignment with the frequency of abundance. Gratitude is not the polite thank you spoken out of habit, nor is it a social courtesy. Living gratitude is a whole state of being where emotion, thought, and even the nervous system of the body resonate in harmony. In that state, you are no longer in the posture of one demanding or waiting. You have crossed into the posture of one already receiving. Modern neuroscience confirms this truth. When a person enters genuine gratitude, the autonomic nervous system immediately shifts. The body moves from stress response to rest and creativity. Hormones of fear decline, while hormones of regeneration and healing increase. The mind is freed from the wheel of worry and opens to the realms of intuition and inspiration. In such a moment, you are no longer broadcasting scarcity, but sending to the universe a clear signal that you are living in abundance. And the universe can only echo back that frequency with corresponding experiences. The wonder of living gratitude lies in the fact that it can be practiced even before you have received what you desire, when you can give thanks as though it were already true. You have created perfect vibrational alignment with what you seek. This is not self-deception, but a powerful signal cast into the formless substance of the universe. It is like the farmer who plants seed and at once gives thanks for the harvest, though no green shoot has yet appeared. Gratitude before receiving is the silent declaration to the universe that you believe fully in the certainty of the outcome. This requires spiritual courage. Most only give thanks after they see evidence. But those who understand the spiritual law reverse the order. They give thanks first, and through gratitude open the door for results to flow in. This is the difference between those who live in scarcity and those who live in abundance. The scarce wait for reality to shift before they feel good. the abundant use gratitude to shift reality itself. Living gratitude also opens a new way of seeing every circumstance. When you focus on what you already have and truly give thanks, you shift attention from lack to plenty. Instead of staring at the empty space, you notice the presence. Instead of being haunted by what has not yet come, you recognize the value of what is already here. This change of focus transforms the whole experience of life. Your mind no longer runs on fear, but rests in assurance, and from assurance, creative intelligence is released. One of the most effective practices is the morning ritual of gratitude. Before the mind is swept into the tide of duties and concerns, sit quietly and name the things you are sincerely thankful for. But the power lies not in quantity, but in depth. You do not merely list, you feel. When you say, I'm grateful for my health, you breathe it in. Feel the vitality of the body, the peace it brings. When you affirm, I'm grateful for the opportunities coming, you must feel the joy in your heart as though the door has already opened. Emotion is the language, the subconscious, and the universe. Understand, without emotion, words are empty. Sound. This practice gradually engraves a new mental habit. The mind begins to search for reasons to be grateful instead of reasons to worry. The nervous system reprograms itself to notice opportunities instead of obstacles. This is vibrational coherence. You no longer have to force yourself to think positive, for the mind naturally leans towards sufficiency. And when this happens, life begins to draw experiences that reinforce the belief. No one denies that difficulties exist, but living gratitude does not ask you to deny reality. It asks you to choose your focus. In any situation, there is always at least one thing to be thankful for, and that single point can become the pivot for transforming the entire experience. Hold to that focus, and not only do you walk more lightly, but you also send a clearer signal to the universe. And once sustained, that signal will inevitably return in kind. Gratitude before receiving is the summit of this practice. It demands complete trust in spiritual law, but its reward is profound transformation. When you can sit in the present and feel thankful for success on its way, you break the chains of time. You step into a state where future and present unite, and your subconscious records the outcome as already complete. From there, every action you take is more decisive, more confident, and the outer world has no choice but to conform to the image you have already blessed. Thus, living gratitude is not merely a virtue. It is a creative instrument. It resets the nervous system, awakens intuition, frees creativity, and establishes vibrational harmony with abundance. Whoever grasps this principle will never again be a victim of circumstance. They will become a co-creator with the universe, one who knows how to use both heart and mind to write the story of prosperity. Before a building rises, before a bridge stretches across the river, the architect must first hold a detailed blueprint. No one builds from vagueness. The universe operates by the same law. If you desire wealth, a career, or any great achievement, you must have an invisible design, a clear and detailed image in the mind, so that the formless substance of the universe may arrange circumstances upon that pattern. This is the mystical pencil placed in the hands of man, by which every idea may become the seed of a new reality. The invisible blueprint requires three essential elements. The first is clarity. A vague thought carries no power to form. If you merely wish to have more money, the mind sends out only a hazy signal, and the universe replies with fragments of little worth. But when you envision a specific sum, a clear source of income, and a vivid picture of the life you long to live, You have handed the subconscious a definite mold. The universe does not work with uncertainty. It responds only to clear instruction. The second is emotion. The more deeply the picture is infused with feeling, the more real it becomes. Emotion is the language the subconscious understands. You may imagine a new home, but unless you feel the warmth of entering its door, the peace of sitting within its rooms, the joy of touching each detail, the picture remains lifeless. But when you allow emotion to flow, you transform the drawing into a living experience, and the subconscious records it as memory, indistinguishable from reality. The third is repetition. An image formed once is not enough to carve itself into the subconscious. It must be repeated steadily until it becomes a fold in the mind. This repetition is not a strain, but a nurturing, like watering a seed each day. With each act of imagination, you strengthen the layer of belief until the image becomes inevitable reality in the mind. The classic manuscript records the story of a merchant who applied this principle with absolute faith. He desired to multiply his income tenfold, a goal that seemed impossible in his circumstances. Yet instead of fretting or demanding to know how it could happen, he built an invisible blueprint. Each day, he imagined signing a great contract. He saw the polished wooden table, the weight of the pen in his hand, the smile upon the client's face, the rustle of paper. As the agreement was sealed, he felt the relief, the exhilaration, the certainty of the moment. He repeated this vision day after day until it was more vivid than his waking life. Then the miracle came. An unforeseen opportunity arose, leading to a contract that matched his image in every detail, from the light in the room to the client's smile. Reality had bent itself to the mold of his invisible design. This shows that you need not know the means. You need only hold fast to the design. The paths, the people, the opportunities will appear under the universe's arrangement. The invisible blueprint becomes the compass of your every action. It causes you to notice what others miss. It guides you to make choices aligned with the vision. Gradually, those choices and actions assemble themselves into a reality that mirrors the inner image. Here you discover the deeper meaning of the phrase. This is the power of voice within. Not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk. The invisible blueprint is that inner voice, quiet, steady, not for a moment's hearing, but as a sanctuary you revisit each day. Within that space you find certainty and direction when the noise of the world confuses you. The voice within recalls the blueprint, and you return to your true course. This practice requires discipline. The mind is easily distracted, easily invaded by contrary images, but with perseverance, a wondrous change occurs. You cease to be one who reacts to circumstances and become one who shapes them. You cease to wait for luck and become a co-creator with the universe. And it all begins with an invisible design, clear, infused with emotion, and repeated daily until it stands forth as fact. Language is the most subtle current humanity uses each day. It appears to serve merely as communication, yet in truth, it is the creative tool that shapes the future. Every word spoken is a seed sown into consciousness, and the subconscious is so faithful that it will strive to bring those seeds into reality. For this reason, language is never just description, it is creation. When you say, I cannot, you carve a boundary. When you say, I am abundant, you open a new door. The universe does not answer hidden wishes, but responds to the signals broadcast continually through your words and thoughts. The classic manuscript reveals that the wealthy and the creative never speak carelessly. They know every word is a mold into which reality will be pressed. Thus they construct declarations of abundance, affirmations of principle, repeated until they become foundation stones in the subconscious. These are not empty phrases painted in false brightness, but instruments to reprogram mental habit, spoken with sincerity of feeling. They imprint themselves upon the nervous system, forming new channels that direct action and produce fitting results. The recommended practice is repetition morning, noon, and night. In the morning, when the mind is most receptive, you sow affirmations that set the vibration of prosperity for the day. You may say, I live in an abundant universe. Money and opportunity flow to me. Or, I grow daily in strength and wealth. These words serve as the first command, placing the subconscious into wealth mode. At noon, when life has scattered and pressured you, affirmations act as a reset button, restoring you to the original frequency. And at night, before sleep, when the gate between conscious and subconscious is ajar, you sow the seeds once more so that through the night the subconscious tends and strengthens them. The power lies not in the number of repetitions, but in the feeling with which they are spoken. Mechanical recitation falls lifeless, but when each word sinks into the body, when vivid images arise in the mind, every affirmation becomes a new circuit in the brain. The more sincerely you feel, the more certain the results. This is not magic, but the psychological law. The subconscious is shaped by language repeated with emotion, yet the process can be undone if you allow negative words to intrude. A casual remark, I am never lucky, I am not good enough, can erase the work of an entire day. The comments of others can also poison, for when you hear and accept them, their seeds fall into the soil of your mind. The Manuscript calls this mental contamination, the silent invasion of scarcity language into the inner environment. Whoever seeks to build wealth must guard against such contamination as carefully as one guards a precious seed from pests. This means you must choose carefully the conversations you engage in, the programs you hear, the books you read. All are language, and whichever language is most repeated will shape your outcome. You cannot hope to live in abundance if you are daily immersed in scarcity, failure, and gloom. You cannot sustain the vibration of prosperity if your environment constantly declares lack. Thus, cleansing the language you receive each day is an essential part of creation. One powerful remedy is to immediately replace every negative phrase with an affirmation of wealth. When someone says, money is hard to earn, affirmavance, I live in a universe that gives abundantly. When you hear, you are not capable, declare, I am always enough for the task I am called to. This instant response acts as a spiritual antibody, protecting you from infection. Creative language is not confined to words spoken aloud. It includes the constant inner dialogue you hold with yourself. This silent conversation, often unconscious, is the most powerful of all. By feeding it new affirmations, you reshape the whole of your future. And once your inner dialogue agrees with abundance, you will find outer actions, opportunities, and results aligning in harmony. Therefore, treat your words as gold. Do not squander them. Each phrase can be a mold for a new future or a chain binding you to scarcity. When you use language to affirm abundance, when you program the mind morning, noon, and night with affirmations infused with feeling, and when you resolutely defend yourself from mental contamination, you wield one of the greatest instruments for shaping life. Language does not merely describe the present, it is the unseen hand writing the script of your future. There is a silent, yet persistent enemy on the path to prosperity. the mental contamination that comes from negative beliefs about money and success. Many grow up hearing phrases such as, money is the root of all evil, wealth makes people selfish, or to succeed, you must sacrifice everything. These ideas may sound harmless, but once they take root in the mind, they act as invisible commands shaping belief and action. A person may practice positive thinking daily, but if such beliefs are allowed to lodge deep within, they quietly cancel out every effort. This is why mental hygiene is an essential step that cannot be skipped. Mental hygiene does not mean escaping reality. It means carefully choosing what you allow into your mind. Just as you would not drink polluted water, you must not allow tainted beliefs about wealth to seep into your conversations and shape your faith. When you hear someone say, wealth corrupts, pause and ask yourself whether that is truly so, or simply a hand-me-down belief. When someone claims that success belongs only to the lucky, use reason to see that luck favors those who are prepared and steadfast. This act of questioning is how you keep your inner environment clean. A powerful method the classic Manuscript suggests is to respond instantly with a mantra. After every encounter with negative language, if someone says, you cannot immediately affirm within, I'm capable of creating anything I set my focus upon. If you hear, the market is saturated, affirmavonse, the universe is ever expanding and opportunities are ever multiplying, this reaction is like washing away dirt before it sinks in. With regular practice, you will find that the words of others no longer unsettle or dominate you. Instead, you become stronger in your conviction. To take this practice to a higher level, the Manuscript proposes the 7-day mental fast. For 7 days, you cut out all negative news, contentious social media, complaining conversations, and every source that spreads fear or scarcity. In their place, you feed your mind only with uplifting ideas, inspiring stories, and affirmations of abundance. This is not meant as a permanent routine, but as a period of purification, a way to become conscious of just how much contamination you usually absorb without noticing. During those 7 days, you will be astonished at the change in your mood, energy, and outlook. You will find yourself less anxious, more creative, and full of fresh ideas. You will see clearly the connection between your mental diet and the results of your life. Just as a body grows strong with healthy food, so the mind grows resilient when nourished with higher thoughts. And from that experience, you will begin to choose more carefully, even after the fast, no longer allowing yourself to drown in the language of negativity. Let me pause to ask you, how many times have you noticed that a careless remark from someone else could weigh you down for an entire day? How many times have you carried a negative comment in your heart, allowing it to quietly undermine your confidence? And are you willing to cleanse your mental environment for the next 7 days to witness the difference it makes? If you are still here listening, I thank you sincerely, for your presence itself proves you are choosing the path of true transformation in thought and in life. Mental hygiene and the guarding of opinion are the shield that protects the seeds of wealth you have planted. They do more than block the infection of false beliefs. They strengthen the roots of the new mindset. When you master this process, you will no longer be swayed by the crowd or weakened by voices of doubt. You will stand firm in your own certainty, and from that ground, the path to prosperity becomes clearer than ever before. Action is the only bridge that unites thought with reality. Every vision, every affirmation, every moment of gratitude remains mere concept until it is carried across into concrete steps. Yet not every action bears fruit, for there are 2 kinds of action, one born of fear and lack, the other born of the identity of wealth. The difference is subtle, but it determines the entire outcome Action born of fear carries the energy of haste, anxiety, and doubt. The one who acts from fear is always in a rush, as though the opportunity will vanish in an instant. They decide out of fear of being left behind, fear of not being enough, fear of loss. That very frequency imprints itself upon the result, so that even if success seems to come at first, it soon collapses or dries up. They build their house upon sinking sand, and sooner or later the ground gives way. By contrast, action that arises from the wealthy identity is carried out in steadiness, confidence, and clarity. The one who acts from abundance is not driven by urgency, but guided by the clear pattern of the invisible blueprint. They need not prove, they need not compete. They simply walk the path upon which mind and heart are aligned. Each choice, each step bears the mark of completeness. They build their bridge from solid stones, strong enough to carry them from the present to the reality ahead. The clearest difference lies in the inner feeling. When you act from lack, you feel tension and pressure. You doubt your choices, fearing you will lose something precious if you do not hurry. But when you act from wealth, you feel calm. Even when the step is difficult, this decision fits your long-term vision. It aligns with the blueprint you have planted. That sense of assurance is not illusion. It is the signal that you are moving in the right direction. Right action is not always easy, but it is always consistent. The inwardly wealthy do not abandon their plan at the first disruption. They do not quit at obstacles, for they understand obstacles are part of the process. By contrast, those who act from fear change constantly, leaping from one opportunity to the next because they have no firm foundation within. Their energy scatters, and they never accumulate enough force for breakthrough. The invisible bridge is built from choices consistent with the wealthy identity. Each time you invest in growth, instead of wasting on trivial pleasure, you lay another stone. Each time you act from faith rather than fear, you strengthen another span. Each time you hold to the long-term vision rather than being lured by short-term gain, you complete another section. And once the bridge is strong enough, outer reality has no choice but to align, carrying you to the shore of prosperity, once seen only in imagination. It must be remembered that right action does not mean perfect action. You need not wait for every condition to be favorable. You need only act in harmony with the new identity. Mistakes may come, but if they are born of the wealthy self, each mistake becomes a lesson. Each lesson adds strength. By contrast, even the technically correct action, if born of lack, will eventually crumble, for the energy beneath it was flawed. Imagine two people stepping into the same business venture. The first enters from fear of missing out, afraid that if they do not seize this chance, none will come again. The second enters because it matches their vision. It fits their invisible design. Though the short-term results may appear alike, their paths diverge in time. The first soon burns out or abandons the effort, while the second continues to rise, for their action is upheld by inner alignment, right action. Then is the invisible bridge linking the inner world and the outer. It turns thought into experience, vision into result, and that bridge cannot be built with panic, but only with steadiness and faith. When you begin to act from the wealthy identity, you cease to chase circumstance. You become the one who shapes it. And that is the beginning of true freedom. There is an unseen force present in every encounter, in every decision, in every step you take. It is your personal magnetic field. Just as the earth holds all things in place through its magnetic pull, so too each person radiates an energy field shaped by their dominant emotions and deepest beliefs. When you sustain the frequency of gratitude, confidence, and certainty, you create an authentic energetic signature, and that signature becomes a silent invitation to opportunity, to collaboration, to the prosperity. Seeking a vessel in which to dwell, this personal field cannot be faked. Others may not hear your thoughts, but they can feel the vibration you emit. A person may speak positive words, yet carry doubt inside, and their signal flickers, leaving others uneasy. But one who, without boasting, holds inner calm, confidence, and gratitude will shift the atmosphere of an entire room. This energy cannot be counterfeited, for it arises from depth, not surface. Gratitude sends out the signal that you are already complete. Confidence declares you are capable of meeting and shaping what comes. Certainty affirms that results are already assured. Together, these three weave a powerful magnetic field that turns you into a living magnet, drawing all that resonates with you. Opportunities that once drifted now seek you. People who once overlooked you now desire to work with you. This is no accident. It is the natural pull of the energy you carry. Your personal field is like a silent fire. It does not clamor for notice, yet all who pass feel its warmth. It draws others closer, inspires trust, awakens collaboration. This is why true leaders never need to shout to command influence. Their field does the work. They enter a room and the atmosphere shifts, not because of volume, but because of presence. And when your magnetic field is strong, what does not belong will naturally fall away. Toxic relationships, false opportunities, and low energy situations detach from you, for they cannot cling to a frequency out of harmony with them. This is not loss. It is purification, clearing space for what is truly aligned with prosperity. Remember, your field is not built in a day. It is formed through countless small choices, choosing gratitude over complaint, confidence over doubt, certainty over hesitation. Each choice adds another layer to your energetic signature or team. This becomes your natural atmosphere, the living space you carry everywhere. This is the deeper meaning of the phrase, this is the power of voice within, not just a voice you hear, but a space you return to. Asterisk, your personal field is that inner voice, not merely a passing sound, but a sanctuary you dwell in. So powerful is this magnetic force that it can turn the tide of events. One enters negotiation carrying lack, and their unease betrays them, weakening trust. Another enters with confidence, gratitude, and certainty, and the other party feels safe, eager to cooperate. The difference does not lie in technique, but in the energetic signature. The beauty is that anyone can build this field, for it is not dependent on circumstances but on choice. You may not control the outer world, but you always command the vibration within. When you persist in gratitude, anchor yourself in confidence, and affirm certainty, you are reprogramming body and mind to broadcast prosperity, and the universe, tuned only to frequency, cannot fail to return what aligns. Your personal magnetic field is both shield and magnet. It guards you from energies that do not belong while drawing towards you people, opportunities, and circumstances that do. Once this strength is built, you no longer chase for what is meant, finds you. This is not laziness. It is the natural effect of alignment between inner and outer worlds. Walk through life with such a field, and you transform not only yourself, but the environment around you. Others feel safe in your presence. Inspired simply by your being, you become the gathering point for opportunities. Relationships and achievements once thought distant. This is the living proof that wealth is not first a material flow, but an energetic current one each person can choose to cultivate. The greatest power of the mind does not lie in harboring many wishes, but in the ability to gather all energy into a single definite aim, focused intention. Like a laser beam is that very art. Ordinary light may illuminate a space, but when concentrated into a laser, it can cut through steel. The human mind is the same. Diffused, it is weak, but focused, it becomes strong enough to alter reality. Focused intention begins with absolute clarity. A vague desire holds no power to form. It only keeps the mind circling endlessly. You cannot simply wish for wealth. You must define what that wealth looks like, the number it carries, the picture of life it supports. You cannot merely wish for success. You must describe that success in your work, in your family, in your daily living. The clearer the goal, the more power energy has to focus, and the easier the universe can respond. But clarity must be charged with emotion. Intention is not a dry formula. It must live. It must carry heartbeat. It must make the whole body vibrate. When you envision your goal, you must feel the joy, the freedom, the stability it brings. Emotion is the current that lights the lamp. Without it, the blueprint is only paper. The subconscious is only moved when stirred by emotion. And emotion transforms intention into a signal strong enough to reach the formless substance of the universe. To keep focused intention alive, it must be anchored morning and night. In the morning, when the mind is still pure, you reset the goal as the opening command of the day. You visualize it in detail, feel the emotion, and affirm it with certainty. At night, before entering sleep, you anchor the image again, so the subconscious may continue its work through the long hours. This repetition carves a pathway in the mind. Each time you walk it, it grows clearer until it becomes the main road. Focused intention also demands sacrifice, not sacrifice of joy or freedom, but the sacrifice of scattered wants, of distracting desires. Those who do not understand this power try to carry too many goals at once and achieve none. Those who grasp the power of the laser are willing to set aside what does not align, no matter how tempting. They know each distraction weakens the flow, and this firmness makes them a river rushing in one direction only. Such focus does not mean rigidity. It allows flexibility in method, but never in destination. The path may twist, the tools may change, but the eyes remain fixed on the goal. This is the difference between the steadfast and the wavering. The steadfast may alter methods, but never intention, and thus they always advance. The wavering shift their goals again and again, and thus arrive nowhere. In reality, every great breakthrough has come from focus. An artist devotes life to music. A scientist devotes life to discovery. A business leader devotes mind and heart to one vision. They did not triumph because they were better than all others, but because they were more focused, and that focus gave them laser strength, breaking through barriers thought impossible. Focused intention also brings inner peace. When you know clearly what you pursue, you are no longer confused by temptation or distracted by voices outside. You need not chase every opportunity. You need not fear missing out, for you have chosen your path. That choice releases energy, eliminates waste, and carries you forward faster and deeper. In the end, focused intention, like a laser, is the union of clarity, emotion, and steadfastness. Without one of these three, intention weakens and dissolves into vague wishing. But when all three are present, it becomes an unstoppable current flowing from mind into reality, and when sustained long enough, you will discover a simple yet profound truth. You do not need many wishes. You need one focused intention strong enough, clear enough, alive enough that the universe itself must bend to bring it forth. Time is the primal currency of life, and the way you spend it determines the level of prosperity you achieve. Money may be lost and regained. Opportunities may be missed and come again, but an hour gone will never return. Those who truly master time understand that every moment is a seed, and if that seed is sown into the fertile ground of intention and right action, it yields a harvest far beyond imagination. Mastery of time is not about cramming tasks into every minute, but about choosing the few things that create lasting value. The one who chases everything ends in exhaustion, but the one who discerns what matters channels energy into what multiplies. It may be a relationship cultivated, an idea patiently developed. These investments, compounded over years, become a fortune. No fleeting circumstance can steal. Conscious perseverance is the second axis on which the wheel of prosperity turns. Without perseverance, vision dies at the start, but blind persistence only repeats mistakes. Conscious perseverance means steady endurance in direction, yet flexible in method. If one road is blocked, you do not abandon the journey, nor do you bash endlessly against the wall. You find another path leading to the same destination. Those without perseverance quit just before the door opens. Those with blind persistence exhaust themselves before arrival. Only the consciously persevering endure to the end, for they combine the strength of persistence with the wisdom of adaptation. Decisive action is the final element that turns the whole system of principles into unstoppable momentum. A focused intention, un invisible blueprint, a strong magnetic field, all are meaningless if never placed into action. But not just any action, decisive action, the step that cuts off hesitation, the move that signals to the universe, I am ready. Such moments often arise before you feel prepared, yet it is precisely when you dare to step that conditions align. The universe responds to movement, never to delay. When these three unite, mastery of time, conscious perseverance, and decisive action, compound effect begins. The smallest steps, repeated steadily, accumulate into immense power, each timely decision, each day lived fully, each bold act becomes a stone in the edifice of prosperity. At first you see only scattered stones, but one day you look up and find a magnificent structure standing. This is the power of compounding, the force that makes those who persist unstoppable. Thus, time becomes either ally or enemy, depending on your choice. Squander it on empty motion, and it drains you, giving nothing back. Use it to reinforce principles, and it multiplies your strength. An hour invested in yourself today may save 10 hours of struggle tomorrow. A decision taken at the right time today may open streams of opportunity tomorrow. The wise always view time as an investor does, and they know the greatest returns come from faithfully sowing seeds of enduring value. Picture a small stream trickling over rock. On the first day, it changes nothing, but through the years, its steady persistence carves a valley, reshaping the land. Life is the same. A small action, repeated long enough, engrave destiny. And when you pair it with wise selection and decisive action, you alter not only the present, but the entire flow of the future. Mastery of time, conscious perseverance, and decisive action form the summit of the system. They transform every principle into thrust. And once the thrust begins, you cease struggling against the current. You ride the wave, borne by the universe itself. Wealth, then, is no distant dream, but the inevitable result, born of the law of compounding, of the alignment of thought, feeling, and deed. Everything you have just discovered is not theory, but a map leading to a life of abundance. Wealth is not something to chase. It is what you become when thought, emotion, and action flow in perfect alignment, when you master time, when you hold fast to conscious perseverance, and when you dare to take decisive action. You activate the compound effect that transforms every principle into an unstoppable force. Remember, the universe never withholds from the one who knows who they are and chooses to live from the identity of prosperity. The key is already in your hand, and the door of abundance stands ready for you to step through